What's up, Victoria? It's Victoria, and today we're going to be doing a full face of indie brand makeup and or small brand makeup. I say small brand makeup as well because I'm not really sure what you might consider to be independent, but these are brands that I feel like are more indie, whether they are financially backed by a financer. I don't know that information, nor do I care to find out that information, but these are brands that give off indie vibes too. So none of the brands that I'm featuring today are things that you could buy at Sephora. I do think that there's this false narrative for some people, not everyone obviously, that Sephora is like the be all end all retailer for makeup. That's just simply not true. There's Ulta, but also there's a lot of really great brands that sell direct to consumer you might not know about. So that's what we're going to get into today. Of course, this isn't an effort to not shop the Sephora sale. I've done Sephora sale content in the past, and I'm not affiliate linking in any of the videos during the Sephora sale. This is not encouraging you to buy things. This is encouraging you to love your collection, but I wanted to feature items that you might not see at Sephora in today's video. I'm feeling very comfy, not low vibes, but I'm just feeling like chill vibes. I wasn't out super late last night, but I stayed up super late last night, which is like not normally my thing. I will say I am going to be featuring a new product in this video so you can see it, but I'm not going to put my affiliate link on the screen. If you end up really wanting it and you do want to use my affiliate link, it has been featured in other videos and you can find that information, or you can use another beautiful content creator's promo code. For primer today, I'm going to be using a product from Mob Beauty. This is one of those brands that I'm not sure would be like technically considered indie. I don't know like the financial backing of this brand, but I do feel like they are a smaller, less represented brand. I feel as though when I did my video on them a couple months ago, was that a couple months ago or was it just last month? I can't even remember. Whenever I did that video, people were either completely disinterested in the brand, very interested in the brand and big fans of the brand already, or people were like, I didn't know about any of this. There are two products I'm going to use for priming today. I'm going to be using the highlight balm in the shade M99 on most of my face, and then the blurring blot balm, which I didn't know when I bought this because I didn't know a lot about Mob makeup whenever I was getting into it. When I bought the blurring balm, it was like a test run. I didn't know that, but now they sell it for real. Like it just launched. For the highlight balm, I'm just going to take this big brush right here from Sonia G. I'm just going to press it into my face. I think it works really pretty as a highlighter, but I also just want to add a little bit of hydration for the foundation that we're going to be using today because it is a foundation that I feel like needs a lot of help in this department. It needs a lot of juice, and we're going to do that two different ways. And just because I'm featuring a product in this video, it doesn't mean I think it's like the best version of this product from indie brands. It's just what I have to do a full face, which is not always the case. So I'm trying not to use things that I dislike. Nothing like a full face of highlighter to really make you feel something. And so I'm going to use the blurring balm. I'm just going to use that on my nose. I've not found a really good purpose for this brush, but maybe it could be my primer applicating brush, even though it's for bronzer. I always reach for my one from BK Beauty as opposed to that Sonia G one. So we're primed, we're prepped, we're ready to go. I woke up at 7 this morning. I went to bed around 1 o'clock. It's almost 3 p.m. as I'm filming this. And I'm just still not with it yet. Okay, we'll start with concealer. So this is a product from Ritual Defy. It's the lab access release of their concealer. They do have the sorcery concealer now. I haven't tried that personally, but I also have this still, and it's a very lovely product. And I say this every time I talk about this, but I have been told that the newer version of it is also very good and not too different from what I have here. Maybe just a little bit thinner, but still has all of the great performing aspects of this concealer. I really love Ritual Defy, and I'm thinking about maybe doing a full brand review of them as my next full brand review. I was going to use this as foundation all over my face today, but I do have a foundation from an indie brand. So if you haven't caught on, this is kind of the vibe of what the next couple of videos are going to be. Kind of featuring products that you can't buy at Sephora because like I said at the top, there's just some people who are Sephora is the be all end all retailer for them. Some people that's Ulta. But the thing about Ulta is it has most of the brands that Sephora has, plus drugstore brands, and their reward system is better, which is why people like Ulta. I just don't like shopping in Ulta, so if I'm gonna shop somewhere, I typically think of Sephora first. But also, as we're finding out here, or as we already know, there's a bunch of beautiful brands that aren't sold at either one of those retailers, or may have sold at those retailers at one point and no longer do. So the next video, I'm gonna do a drugstore makeup video, and then I'm also gonna do a full face of luxury makeup you can't buy at Sephora. That's kind of the game plan. So there will be some like repeat brands throughout this face of makeup, but I think that's okay. I'm going to actually mix a couple of products up for my foundation. So the foundation I'm going to be using is from Mob. It's the cream foundation in the shade Neutral 20. And then this is kind of a matte foundation, and I do think it needs babied a little bit for it to work really well. I find on my oily skin it works pretty well, but I have heard from people with dry skin that this foundation looks really bad on them. Yeah, it's just kind of like a foundation that I think it really comes down to skin type. I would love for them to release a fluid foundation in the future. And I'm going to be mixing that with the Auric Glow Lust. Now, I struggled whether or not the Auric product would go into luxury or indie, but I would say they're like an independent luxury brand. So that is why I'm putting it in this video. Again, I'm not sure if Samantha Ravndal had any financial backers or if it's completely financed by her, but we're going to use it in today's video nonetheless. I feel like Auric is one of those brands that only has a couple of products, very well thought out. To some extent, I don't think that all of the products are hits from Auric, but I do really love the Auric Glow Lust. I'll be using the shade Morganite today. So I have a mixing palette here. I'm just gonna do probably a half a pump of Glow Lust. I say probably, I did, and I'm doing a half a pump. And I'm just gonna scrape, I'm gonna like have no measurements for the amount of foundation I'm gonna scrape out, but I'm gonna just scrape out some of the foundation, and I'm just gonna mix them together. This was my favorite, whenever I was testing out this brand, this is my favorite way to wear this foundation. If there's one thing that I think Mob should work on, it is maybe a better foundation product, because I just don't think this one's a hit. I'm gonna press that into the skin. We're gonna get some more glow on top of using the highlighter. Without the Glow Lust mixed with the foundation, I do feel like it goes on dry and doesn't spread as well. But I think with Glow Lust in it, it does spread well. Now, if you have this foundation, but you don't have Glow Lust, you don't need Glow Lust. If you have a liquid highlighter, you can just mix it with any liquid highlighter. So if you have like the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, or if you have what like the e.l.f. product, and you want to mix it with this foundation, I highly suggest it because it looks really beautiful when you wear it like this. But I also do feel as though complexion products should work however you want them to work, and if it's not mixing in a highlighter or something more hydrating with it, this would not be a perfect product for you. Well, if this is the look, it looks really matte without it, and it like works fine without Glow Lust, but also I just think it looks better with it. It's more of my desired finish. I went to a new restaurant last night. Hello, Pittsburgh chat. Everyone tune in, for it's time for Pittsburgh chat. There's this restaurant in Lawrenceville that I walk by so many times, and it's called Mezcal. I think it's just called Mezcal Mexican Cantina. I just had never been in there. And me and my friend Rebecca had dinner there last night. And the food was good. The drinks were better. But I like Mezcal. And the drink, of course, that I ended up drinking, I only had two of them, but it was inexpensive for Pittsburgh. You know how like bigger cities, like cocktails can get really, really pricey? Basically, the price of this cocktail is like the price of a New York City or like Chicago cocktail. It was pretty expensive. The unfortunate thing about me is if there is a cocktail that is like $5 more expensive than all the other ones, I have to know, why is this one so much more expensive? But I would go back. It was vibey in there. I just didn't like, we sat at a high top table and I just like didn't love the chair. I don't mind sitting at high tops. It just matters what the chair feels like, and it was like digging into my legs. And Rebecca, my friend I went with, she was also saying that it was pretty uncomfortable. But yeah, and then we got ice cream and we walked around Lawrenceville while everyone was starting to get drunk. We left Lawrenceville around 10 p.m., but we like got into the ice cream shop like right before it closed. I hadn't had like a proper ice cream cone in for so long, and I'm like, they're so messy. They're just so messy. If I wasn't doing this video, I would skip this step on this particular face of makeup because we already have a lot of glow. We have a highlighter underneath. We have a highlighter mixed into our foundation product. But I wanted to try to feature as many brands as I could in this video just so you could know more about them. I wanted to use a product from Phytosurgeons. So this is the Phytosurgeons Spectral Shine in the shade Cool Candlelight. And if you are new to my channel, this is not a product that I like would lightly recommend to just anyone. I think it's very specific. It's a very, very soft highlight, but I like to use it as a bit of a cheek primer after I put on foundation. It adds some glow, but I actually prefer it for its like blurring properties with the addition of the glow. So like I said, I wouldn't do this step if I wasn't on camera trying to feature as many products as I can, but I just like how it blurs. And it might be taking down the shine of the foundation in this particular scenario, but if you had something on more matte, it would bring a glow to it, but it's a little bit hard to see here. This is not a thing I think is mandatory for anyone. It's just a step I really enjoy. I used to really not like this product. And there are a lot of people who have bought this product that like don't know what they want to do with it, which is why I don't like it's a very gentle like recommendation if you like want to try something like that. But I do feel like you have to go in it knowing that you might have to like try a couple of ways of using it, figure out how you might like to use it. And in that way, I think that's a flaw in the product. I have come to really enjoy it. There are a lot of creators who I really love that really like that product. And I feel like they recommend it fearlessly and without, not the qualms, but without telling people that it might not be for them. And that's one of those products that I feel like needs that disclaimer. And like, obviously, every product, there's a thing that's like, it might not be for them, but like the people that this kind of thing is going to be for, it's like so good for those people. It's like one of the best products for that kind of thing. It's just like not everyone does that makeup step or wants to do that makeup step, which is why I'm like, if you only want a highlighter, this isn't something I would recommend to you. If you're looking for like what I just described, this should come as no surprise to anyone. This is from Ritual Defy. This is their shade Intuition in their cream luminizer. No, Rare. This is Intuition from Ritual Defy. And this is not supposed to be a contour. Like, it's not a line of contours, but it is my favorite contour. And as you can see, it doesn't come like this. I depotted it because I broke the packaging it came in because I was using it all the time. And this is all I have left. It's very little. But my thought was, I was talking about Ritual Defy and maybe doing a brand review earlier. I thought, well, maybe when it's time to re-up on Intuition, because this is a site exclusive. Ritual Defy is carried at a couple, well, maybe just one retailer. They're carried at Credo. Ulta used to have a small selection of their products, but it seems like they don't do that anymore. Ritual Defy is like a true indie brand, like no financial backers. And they have like a wide swath of products too. And that's pretty impressive. Some indie brands, they like really do one thing really well. Like I'm thinking of Clionadh, which Clionadh sells other products, but I think like their eyeshadows are really the star of the show for them. Like that's what most people turn to Clionadh for. Whereas I feel like Ritual Defy has like a lot to offer with lip products, complexion products, and honestly, their complexion products, they have good ranges in all of their complexion products. And they also are doing like interesting, unique colors. I really appreciate that about Ritual Defy. Next up is from Trixie Cosmetics. If you've been watching my channel the past couple of months, you'll know that this has become a true favorite of mine. Just a standalone wonderful product. This is the Trixie Sticks Cream Bronzer in the shade Sunkissed. This is so good. Like unbelievably good. Like hands down, the best cream bronzer I've ever tried. The formula is like unparalleled. I've tried luxury cream bronzers. I've tried mid-range, high-tier cream bronzers. This is it. A queer-owned brand, a drag queen-owned brand. Very, very cool to be able to include this. My favorite product from Trixie Cosmetics so far. So I'm very, very, very pleased with this. It's so funny because I'm like, not that I feel like I'm burning through this, but like in my head I am. I'm like, wow. What if I pan a bronzer? Feels possible. Not that I think that they're like not providing you enough product, because I just feel like cream bronzers always come with a ton of product. This feels like a amount of product that I can get through in a reasonable amount of time with my makeup usage. This soft, warm bronzer color. I had gotten some questions about this because I had talked about the Phytosurgeon's bronzers in the past. I think this is more akin to Golden Daybreak than it is to Rosy Daybreak. It's not a rosy bronzer, but much like Golden Daybreak, it's a very wearable, warmer bronzer color for me as opposed to being a rosy bronzer. And I just like this formula. Really comes down to the color's great. The formula is more the wow factor. It's just so easy to work with. Something about like most other cream bronzers, like if we're talking about the Phytosurgeon's one specifically, much like the Spectral Shine formula, it has that weird, I don't know, it's not like a creamy balm, so there's a learning curve to it. And then sometimes other cream bronzers I've tried, it's like very easy to overdo it. And I just find this formula, it's creamy, easy to work with, easy to apply, hard to overdo. It's just so good. It's incredible. Incredible. I love this product. Man, I love it. I love it so much. I talked about this in my favorites video, and someone was just like, watching you not invite that cream bronzer into your makeup collection was like talking about a person who still thinks they're in a situationship when they're in a full-blown relationship. I protect myself from my feelings. I would do the same thing with a man. Be like, We're not a couple. That's not true. That's like actually a bold-faced lie. I want to be partners with someone right away. Like, I don't even, like, let's skip dating. I want to be at the point where like, I just have my head on your lap and we're watching TV. Like, I want to skip if you get me right there. For blush today, I'm so excited to once again feature the Glaminatrix Cosmetics Cheek and Lip Flush. I'm going to be using the shade Soft today. I did find out that I have the shade extension of the blushes, and I think there was an original line of blushes that I do not have. I think. I was watching Newpor's video. I will link her video down below where she was talking about favorites, and Newport talked about these. I was like, oh, I just have the extension of shades. I don't have the original line. Or maybe it's the other way around. Actually, but anyway, I know I don't have all of these. This shade is quite interesting because it looks like it's going to be like beige. It's not. It's kind of like this neon coral color. And it doesn't obviously wear that thick on the cheek. But when you blend it out, you can kind of see how like highlight, like it's just very, very bright. But it's so pretty. I have had trouble historically remembering to use my liquid blushes. I do think that this is my preferred liquid blush formula. I really like the ones from Surratt, but I often forget to use them. We're just gonna put some of that on. I don't know. I always feel like it's like I swatch it and I feel like it doesn't look as neon until it gets on my cheek. It's like a neon pastel coral. I don't know how to make sense of that to you, but that is how I feel about this color in particular. But I think so far, this is the one I've worn the most. Do you see how it's kind of like neon? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. We're keeping the cheek kind of bright and light. We're probably going to go for like a heavier, darker look on the eyes today. So I think I want to keep everything else kind of like more fresh and light looking. And I do like that this has that peachiness to it. It's so hard for me to distinguish between coral, peach, because I have had this conversation on my channel before, because I feel like whenever you describe something as peach, it's like, what do you mean? Do you mean orange peach or do you mean pink peach? Because I feel like there's two different types of peaches. Colors, whenever we're talking about colors and cosmetics. I do think like when we think of a peach, like when I think of a peach in real life, like an actual piece of fruit, one skew of fruit, peach, I feel as though it's more orange. But I feel like a lot of the peaches colors in cosmetics are always more pink than orange whenever it comes to peach. But then also, I don't know, there's a lot to be thought about. Like my brain's still not fully functioning yet. I'm like doing this video, I'm like, Tom, shut up. All I can think to myself is, Tom, please shut up. There's that on the cheek. So if you have a deeper complexion, I can't imagine you would get a lot of use out of this particular shade. They do have deeper shades. I'm not sure it would show up like chalky. There has to be some white in there for it to show up like as neon as it is. In Newpor's video, I think she was talking about how she'll use it kind of as like a matte highlighter color on her skin. She has like medium skin. Very into the vibe that we have going on so far. And then we are going to be doing green, I think, on the eyes. Well, we'll see. I haven't really done it, but the eyeshadow palette that I'm going to be featuring is mostly green. And I was also sent a highlighter to go with the eyeshadow palette that we're talking about, but I already have a green highlighter. This is from Andromeda's collection with Ritual de Fille. This is the shade... I really thought I was going to know without looking. This is the shade Borealis. And I really like this green because it's a very wearable green. And it's in their Rare Light Luminizer formula from Ritual de Fille, which is more of like this ethereal glow from within. Even whenever they have interesting colors to them, it still reads, not like natural, but it still reads very wearable on the skin. Like you can build it up if you really want something that reads super green, but they're so wearable. In my age and where my skin's at, I do prefer the Rare Light Luminizer formula of highlighters from Ritual de Fille. I just think they're a little bit easier to wear. The metamorphic highlighters have like glitter in them. I don't know if it's glitter, but they have like large shiny particles in them. And I don't love wearing that, but this I really love. And I'm thinking that the highlighter from Bella Beauty Bar for this collection would really be pretty on top of it and really give you that effect. That's not what we're doing today. I'm going to powder my face. I do not have any powders from indie brands, and then we will move on to eyeshadow. This was sent to me in PR from Bella Beauty Bar. When I get a notification that they're sending me PR, I'm always very excited. Not every eyeshadow palette from Bella Beauty Bar I have loved, but the ones that hit really hit. And as you all know, I'm into my color era again. I've been very into color these days, and I feel as though we're gonna have some color in here. I would say these are more like blue greens than like forest greens. So you will have to be into that kind of thing. I would not say that these are like swampy colors. I would say that these are, well, I guess they're green goddess colors, wouldn't they be? The last couple times I've done like swampy green looks, I have not really loved the way that I have felt in them. So we will see, but I did swatch this eyeshadow palette already. There are some very promising colors in here. There's a color in here, I believe it's this shade right here called Fertility. And when it's swatched out, I'm not sure I'm going to use it. And I don't actually feel like getting glitter on my fingers today. So I will put swatch footage in for you, but I'm not doing that in this very moment. But I do believe that this launches the day after that you're watching this, the 7th. It was confirmed that an artist was paid for this work. This is not AI art, which is unfortunately a thing that I feel like indie brands are going to have to say now, not because I want to believe them. It's just that a lot of indie brands seem to be turning to AI art for their artwork. So I don't know. Like obviously my go-to is like, oh, I want to go into the neutrals, but I let's play with the greens. Let's play with the greens. Well, I might play with I might start here. I get into it though. It's very pretty. In a previous video, I said that they discontinued this, and then someone said that it's back in stock. That has been my experience the whole time I have used the NARS Smudge Proof eyeshadow base, is that like it's in stock and then it's out of stock for a really long time and then it's back in stock and then it's out of stock. I know that there have been other people in my comment section saying that they needed recommendations that aren't this. I haven't looked for it because I think I am just going to move to trying the About Face eyeshadow primer, and I'm going to tell you why. If the case of my eyeshadow primer, which I do really like this eyeshadow primer, is that it's like in stock sometimes, but not all the time. And I am very rarely running out of eyeshadow primer also. Something to keep in mind is that I'm very, very, very rarely running out of that kind of product. It's just like when I want to re-up on it, I want to be able to easily re-up on it. And whether NARS has their stuff together or not to have it in stock, I don't want to have to rely on them for that. I'm priming my eyes. I'm also setting down a cream colored matte eyeshadow over top to just make blending a little bit easier. Also, if you are looking for a new eyeshadow primer, Millie over at Bad to the Brow tested a ton of them. It's a very informative video and might help you make your next decision. And I think some people were like, oh, did she rank hers the best? She didn't really talk about glitter glues or glitter primers, which I feel like hers would be considered the one that she did with Cleona. Anyway, it wasn't included in the ranking. So you can also go in knowing that like that's not part of it. Okay, let's get into the palette. I'm very excited. Let's go into this shade. It's the shade called Wisdom. I'm going to try to use it as a transition shade. We'll see how dark it ends up showing up on the skin, whether or not I can use it as such. It's perhaps a little darker than I was expecting, but we can always blend out the edge with the creamy matte in there as well. I think it'll work as a transition shade. I posted on my second channel a video about Marina. If you're into that, go check it out. On the other channel, I'm trying to do different editing. Sometimes my editing here is real fast paced and clipped. Whenever I'm doing like a video like this, I tend to not make the editing move too quickly. It's just a different editing style, and I'm like including clips in and stuff. Anyway, I only had 20 minutes of footage to edit. It took me 2 hours to edit that 15-minute video, and I was just like, goodness gracious. And that's why that channel is like, I'll post here when I post here. It's a lot of work. It's very pretty. It's actually I feel like it's a pretty neutral green color. I feel like it's actually reading more brown on my eyes. It is kind of like one of those like khaki green colors, but I do feel like just the way it's reading on my skin, it's pulling pretty neutral. Oh no, is everyone going to say, Tom, you've been fair olive this whole time? My biggest fear, my nightmares. My nightmare is not to be a person who has fair olive skin. It's just so funny when people who are seeing you through a screen, and I try my best to represent colors as accurately as I can, try to tell you what your skin tone is, and also tell you what foundation shades they think are better for you, even if you've decided that the shade that they think is best for you isn't. It's just really, it's an interesting phenomena to experience. I'm going to be using Demeter here, the shade. I'm going to use that in the crease. That was maybe a little too deep for the crease. I was kind of expecting it to be a little lighter on my eye than it was in the pan. That was my bad. I'm going to try to like fix that with the shade Nourish, which is right next to it. Also, I just want everyone to know that this is the first time I'm actually putting this on my eyes. So this isn't, don't take this as like a review of this product. It's just, I'm using it on camera today. So I will say this, I can't tell if I didn't prime my eyes correctly or if it's the shade, but I am having trouble blending out the darker green shade. Like it just looks a little patchy, but it also looks like it got stuck on eyeshadow primer, which also could be true. Even though I put powder down, it does happen to me occasionally, but it is not my best blending work. It's not looking my best. I think it's like what happened was I like used the wrong shade and then it worked not the way I wanted it to. And now we're here. Okay, I'm gonna try using just the shade Nourish, which is this shade right here. I'm gonna use it in my crease over here to see if we run into the same problem. Okay, so I think it is some combination of two things. I'm not sure I'm loving the way that this shade is working, the Nourish shade. It's just taking a while to build up, which I do normally love that about Bella Beauté Bar eyeshadows, is that I feel like I normally have a lot of control over them. It just felt like a little more fussy than I'm used to with Bella Beauté Bar. So let me go back to this eye and try to fix. Okay, now I'm going to go back into that darker green shade, the shade Demeter, and I'm going to actually focus it right here. I should also note that I'm not wearing my glasses. I don't have contact lenses in. So I was using a mirror that was pretty far away from my face. Hold on. Okay, let's get into it. Adding some more of the green on this eye fixed whatever weird patchy thing was happening. I do think it was more so that I did not put enough powder on top of the eyeshadow primer, so it was still tacky and it got caught, but I was able to work it out on the remix. Ma'am, I don't know, maybe not. I am feel like I'm getting like a bit of patchiness from this dark green shade. That's unfortunate, but I'll keep playing with this palette and report back to you too if there is great interest in this palette. But like, we're still pulling it together. So one thing I've always loved about Bella Beauté Bar, and I've mentioned this many times on my channel, is that I always feel like their mattes perform like I like my mattes to perform. So something that like is a slow build, I have lots of control, a lot of consistent pigment, and then if I really want it to be bold, I can really make it bold. But what it's feeling like is that packing and blending them, this particular palette is working the best, where I feel like I didn't have to do that on other Bella Beauté Bar palettes. So I'm not really sure what's going on. I still love the way my eyeshadow is looking, and some people love to pack and blend their colorful eyeshadow. That's just like not how I typically prefer to do it, but it does seem to be like how I'm getting the best application of these eyeshadows. And now I'm gonna go into this pastel shade Tranquil. Whenever I saw the palette, that was the first color that I was drawn to. I'm just gonna use it as kind of like a matte inner corner highlight. We can choose to put a shimmery eyeshadow on top of it. Look at that. It's very pretty. They had a palette that had neons in them, and I didn't really like working with the neons. I am liking that. The thing with pastels is sometimes they like fade pretty quickly. Honestly, the eye look is kind of a slay without a shimmer. I'm not always one for like a matte look. I do want to put a shimmer on though because of me. I think I want to put Earth Mother all over my lids. I am going to put down some Pixie Epoxy from Farinay. And I'm going to use a silicone applicator to put on the shimmer. This is the shade that reminds me of Mint Money from Hello Taco. I don't even know if they still make that shade. I know that Hello Taco had to discontinue some shades, but Mint Money was always my favorite shade from Hello Taco. Gorgeous. Oh, wow. I love that eyeshadow color so much. Work, serve, hunty bitch. I can't even be gay. You know what's gonna happen after this video? I'm gonna roll right back into my bed. Keep watching YouTube. Hopefully someone posts today that isn't about the Sephora sale. I really love the Sephora sale videos, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm even feeling the fatigue. And I know you guys feel the same way, but it's just kind of like, girl, hold on. I do need you to come in. I need you to get into that eyeshadow shade. That's makeup. If there's one thing I can tell you is that that's makeup. I think I do. I think I'm gonna use a little bit of balance, not quite on the inner corner, but like right on the like indent on the inside of my eye. Hopefully that will make sense to one of you, but I will also show you. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of that. I just want a little bit of contrast. So I'm just gonna put it like right here. I'm having some issues with this shade. I'll have to swatch it on my hand to see like what it looks like because I feel like it's not really showing up. And I do feel like I'm picking up product and then I'm putting it on. So I don't know how green, if there's any of a green flip in this shade or if it's just pink, but it's not picking up like the shade Earth Mother did, the green shade that's on my eyes, green shimmer. Okay, I'll show you. So that's the shade that I was just trying to put on my inner corner. And that's what it looks like. So maybe it's just sheerer than I thought it was. Oh, it kind of is. So that's what it looks like. Okay, I was just a little bit confused. I just thought it would show up more than it did with the brush. But I was fighting a battle that I didn't know I was losing. Okay, it actually reminds me a little bit. Oh, there's like some blue in there. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, that's actually a wet. Okay, I actually just want to wear that on my eyes by itself sometime. I was able to get it to do what I wanted it to do, but it really didn't want to do that. But that's my lack of knowledge of the palette at this point. I don't think it's the palette's fault. But the matte greens, on the other hand, I don't know about those yet. People already have their reviews of this eyeshadow palette up, and I'm like, I'm trying it today for the first time, 2 days before it launches. You want to do sparkle cam? Look at, I just love this. I love the way it looks. It was a little bit of a challenge. It wasn't even like the most challenging eye I've ever done, but it was just like, and not that the products were being the most difficult I've ever had my products be. It's just like uncommon for Bella Beauty Bar. Let me go get my, oh. You know, it's so funny. There's like sparkles all over my camera. It just is what it is, isn't it? It's just the nature of the game. Well, what I'm doing with the amount of sparkles I like to wear. Oh. Goodness gracious, I love that so much. I'm getting lost in the sparkle. I love this so much. I love the shade Earth Mother. I need to use Earth Mother with or swatch it next to Skin of a Killer. They're not the same thing at all. This is more of a metallic, like a sparkly metallic. Skin of a Killer is just like sparkle, but like, oh, I love it. I'm getting that. It's like I'm getting Skin of a Killer energy. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm getting like, that's how I'm feeling. I don't have an indie brand mascara, so I will apply some and zoom you out and we'll talk about lips. For lips today, we're going to go back to Mob Beauty and use the shade M159 in their lip liner. Maybe I'll get the Glossier sharpener on the sale. I actually do think my sharpener needs to be replaced. My sharpener, I've had it since I started doing makeup and it was given to me by a friend. I prefer to just have one for sharpening. Not like one of the ones that like comes with a pencil most of the time. I was going to use Mob Beauty's lipstick, but I actually think I'm just going to use, since we have so much green on my face, I'm going to use also from Andromeda's collection with Rachel Diffie Medusa in the lip sheer. And this is a full face of makeup from indie and small makeup brands. Let me know in the comments down below some of your favorite indie makeup brands if they weren't featured here, or if they were featured here, let me know your favorite product from an indie brand, the one that you swear by and that you use all the time. I would love to know. I could have talked about the Firenze more. I guess that's also an indie brand, a small indie brand. They've been around for a long time, my understanding, but the Pixie Epoxy is also indie. I didn't think about that while I was applying the makeup. I was like, I'm going to use the Pixie Epoxy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you are surviving the Sephora sale well. I hope your wallet is intact. I hope however you planned to tackle the Sephora sale, whether not at all or with a game plan, has followed through. Like, I hope that's all coming out the way that you want it to, the desired outcome. That's going to wrap up the video from me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm on Patreon and I have channel memberships. You can find those linked in the description box down below. I do an additional video over there every single month. In the pinned comment will be links to support some really great causes. If you have the means to support those causes, I would appreciate you doing so. Also, I don't know if I said this already. I'm really tired. If you don't want to join my Patreon, that's totally fine. Or channel members. I get it. Especially with the big the big tariffs coming into effect soon. Or already. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to follow your haute and you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. Tits out.